you're going to have this ability to now reframe.
Allow yourself time throughout the day to stress the fuck out.
The thoughts and the feelings and the behavior cycle can start changing.
So you are starting a new diet, you are setting out to reach your finally and forever weight loss goals, you want to get it done already, or you are joining us again for another round of Living Method. I'm excited to get started. Today I'm introducing one of our guest experts, Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer. She is a learning expert, a learning strategist. She is the author of Feel Good Learning. Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer, hello and Happy New Year. Hi.
Hi, Happy New Year, Gina. Happy New Year, every human who's joining. It's so beautiful. There are so many yays and so many capital letters and so much enthusiasm, which feels like exactly the right way to show up today. So Happy New Year, and thanks for having me back, Gina.
Oh, let's get into that because a couple things I want to do. We are starting a new group and program. We're going live right now in the Facebook support group. I want to have this conversation to set up our new members who are maybe not all that familiar with the program and the process. It can seem like a lot. That's because we don't mess around. We take weight loss seriously. We want this to be the last diet that people ever do and move on and lose their weight in a healthy, sustainable way. We also have returning members who are doing another round in order to get one step closer or to reach their weight loss goals. Unlike other diets, you just start and you keep on going to reach your goal. We kind of break it down into digestible 91 days where you can start, finish, and each time level up and do that for as long as you need to reach those goals. But let's talk about New Year, because people have, people set their New Year's resolutions. They put a lot of pressure on themselves. Do you have any advice? I love the fresh start mindset, but in reality, some people have been trying to lose weight for 20 years. And for our returning members, it's kind of a fresh start, but it's not. It's just kind of continuation. So any advice on that? Are we doing it the right way by setting those goals and expectations, or should we simplify, break it down day to day? What do you think?
What a beautiful question. So I wonder if we back up even a step before, because I know that there are so many folks, if you even dare to ask, do you have a New Year's resolution? It's like, don't talk to me about New Year's resolutions. I hate them. I'm against them. Forget it. They failed me every time. And then there are other folks who live by them, who love the blank slate feeling, the possibilities. So I think everyone is welcome here. You do that so well. Everyone is welcome here. And so just to speak to the new members, like all the way welcome and all the way congratulations. And what a beautiful, brave choice. And God, there's so many things I want to say, but if you are inclined to plant those seeds and set those aims and hopes, then there's no point fighting that. There's nothing wrong with being hopeful. In fact, what a beautiful thing in this whole world that's so complicated to continue to be hopeful. I mean, that's what likely brought you here, is because there is still hope. Things can be different. And for returning members, you know what to expect. And then there's that fresh eyes. And so is this about a new hope or a shifting hope or a new perspective? So I think that if there is that resistance, wonderful. Ain't that feedback? Ain't that feedback about all of the hurt and all that heavy luggage that we're carrying and all of that disappointment around the effort, those years of effort, the years of being a bit duped by other systems and programs. And so for some, hope might come naturally. And for others, it might be a bit harder or tender or reluctant. And that's okay too, because we're going to hope for you, because we know what's in store. And so it's okay if you're feeling tentative or cautious or a little bit skeptical. How normal. What a normal way to begin something new.
Oh, can I just tell you, it is good to be back. I mean, like, we don't mess around. just dive right into this conversation. If you're new to the Living Method, I'm sure already in the first few minutes, you may be getting the sense that we talk about it. We go right into it. This is just so much more than what you are eating and when, and eating less and exercise more. It's none of those things. And that's what we mean by we want you to lose your weight finally and forever. And it's beyond just the food or exercise. It's working through issues, associations, habits, and for some people, some past traumas. I don't want to get into too much because I know you're going to be coming back the first week of the program. So we have prep week, which is for our new members to review the information, kind of ask all the questions that they need, run out and grab anything that they need. If you're a returning member, prep week, you want to start that. Everyone starts on day one regardless, but you're going to be back that week one, and we're going to get more into it, especially once our new members know what they're getting into, for sure. But I love that. And I love that you said that we accommodate everybody. Some people are going to be like, okay, let me do all the things. Let's get it done. It's going to be smooth sailing for them. Other people are going to struggle more than others. And people learn differently too. So we have our Facebook support group, which we're going live in right now. We also have, I don't have a copy of my new book yet. Do I? No, I don't. I only have a copy of my new book. It is available on Amazon. So we have a book, which is a written version. I love highlighting and making notes. We have our amazing Living Method app that guides you through the program and the process. We have our podcast that you can download and listen to if you can't watch our lives live. And at the end of the day, you don't even have to watch the lives live. Everything that you need to know is in the app, in the Facebook support group, and also in the book. So even as I'm saying that seems like a lot. And those resources were created to fit the needs of every individual in the program, because some people might just want to use the book and then listen to the podcast. Some people might want to just use the app. Some people might just want to use Facebook. You don't need Facebook anymore in order to follow the program. So can we talk about those resources? So it's day one. I'm new to the program and I have all of these things. It seems like a lot. Where do I even start with that?
We start with deep breath,
Okay.
feet on the ground, and understanding that you're not going to do or engage with every single one of those pathways. That actually, the way I understand your program, that's actually not even the point. You find the right combination that supports you on the day-to-day. So
Love
there are many options because there are so many humans, there are so many learners, there are so many histories, there's so many contexts of people who are joining. So you're trying to reach everyone, but not with all the things.
Right.
So in fact, for returning members, you might try a new constellation, a new cluster or braid. And for new members, you might say, what is the simplest? So what actually just right away fits in with my life? You might say, ooh, I have the energy of like sass and readiness and I want to shake everything up. So I'm actually going to do what feels a little uncomfortable. You'll know, you can tune into that intuition. But the point is, how is it you understand information? How do you learn? How, when someone is presenting you with new material and new skills and new exercises and new kind of reflective provocations and opportunities, how do you absorb that? Do you absorb that by listening? Do you absorb that in community, in this interaction and question? Do you love bookending your day? I'm going to check in a little with the program in the morning and in the evening. Do you need a kind of drip, drip, drip through the day? You get to decide. For me, that's one of the highlights. I am a lifelong educator and I love understanding how other people are teaching. This is a type of school. This is a program that you are all the way entering into to both learn new things and unlearn unhelpful things. And these pathways of podcast and Facebook, and you can write in a physical journal, you can app, you can track right from the start. It's meant to make it easy and a natural fit for you. But the key is not everything. And if you begin to feel overwhelmed, even with listening, again, how normal?
Yeah.
What are the one or two or three kind of like most organically, like easeful, what feels easeful for you to begin with. You can make it more complicated as you go. You will likely want to come back and keep connected. You can keep trying different ways, but to begin, what feels easeful? What will fit into your day on your commute to work? As you have just dropped off your kids at school or daycare, after you have done caregiving, or at the end of the day, what fits? Because when it fits, it will likelier stick.
I love that, because people do feel overwhelmed. There is a lot of information because there's a lot of people. We know people have a lot of questions. A lot of that becomes repetitive. Once you get into the groove of following the program and doing what you need to do, it definitely gets easier. I think it's normal to feel overwhelmed when you're taking on any new task or goal or learning something new. So for our new members, how do you not go into that? Oh my goodness, this is a lot. I don't know what like. They're excited, and I love that. But sometimes what happens is, if they're not perfect from day one, then they feel like, oh, they're already failing before they even get started, especially when it comes to dieting. They have this sense of it needs to be perfect, or I have to keep starting again. Whereas this is why we have prep week built in for our new members, to give them that time to kind of read the information, ease into it, get into that groove. So that's part one of my question, is for new members. The second part is for our returning members. I'm reading some of the comments. They're feeling ways about their choices over the holidays, or, in between, the end of the last group and where they're at now starting. And everyone wants this really bad. And I think sometimes those big feels can get in the way of us just kind of showing up and doing the things that we need to do, and start building on the things that we're doing so we can get into that groove. It's almost like we get freaked out before we get into that space where we're into it and we're doing it. And sometimes I don't know if it's sabotage. What is that? So can you address our new members who might feel overwhelmed in a few days, and our returning members who are coming in with big feels?
Oh my
I know
goodness.
that's a lot.
I have 2 hours. I just want to talk all about that. Those are my favorite questions. Okay. So the first thing I would suggest, it's a beautiful phrase from a very good friend of mine, a really beautiful writer and thinker on resilience, Linda Graham, and she writes about little and often. So we're not trying to do the whole program all at once. Even if you are coming back for the 5th or 6th time, we're not trying to do it all at once. So little and often means, if there's, say, chapter 1, if chapter 1 is 20 pages, then how might I spread those 20 pages out over the 5 or 6 days of that first week? How can I read a couple of pages each day? And maybe if I not just do little and often, but think of a way to automate a new habit being built. How am I engaging with Gina's program? Is it in my morning routine? Is it around lunchtime when I take a break? I've done some of the work of the day, and before I enter the afternoon, this is my time. Is it at the end of the day when the house is quiet? You get to choose. There is no one way to do this. So when will it fit? And can we automate that? Oh, I'm having a touch point with Gina's program these 3 times, or this 1 time a day. The other thing is, can you make it almost as if you were going back to school? Do you have a space? Do you have a space where you have the book, where you have a journal? Where are you keeping your stuff? Where are you keeping the material that you can engage? There's an idea that really comes out of ADHD learners and their journeys with sometimes feeling fractured or fragmented in their focus, which can happen for all of us. Just this idea of Ohio, only handle it once. So can I have everything in effect within arm's reach? So all of my work material is in this one space. I don't have a lot of space. I live in downtown Toronto in this little space, but it's all here. So I don't have the book here, and then I've got a journal over there, and then I do my app here. Like I actually try to consolidate it, because that can really help prevent that scattered, overwhelmed feeling. The other thing that I find essential is many of us in this hyper productive, there's so much we've got going on. And now Gina's another thing we've got going on. And I'm new, so I've got so much to learn. So it's like I have either a physical or a mental to-do list miles and miles long. Oh, is that ever punishing? So what we try to do is move away from those endless and persistent and unforgiving task lists and into what I think or call task to time alignment. Because the truth is, there's likely way more things on that list than we could ever possibly engage with in a day, or at least not without utterly burning out. Because what happens to tomorrow, right? Like I could do many of those things, and then what does tomorrow look like, right? So what does it mean to do, Gina, each day? I would recommend something like writing down when you're going to listen to the podcast, or when are you going to track? Is it going to be once in the morning, once in the night? Or does tracking feel like hypervigilance to you? Oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, the Facebook, I feel like I'm part of a community. I'm going to jump on the lives because that's where I feel my momentum and my motivation. Great, I'm going to book it in. And I don't mean booking it in that our whole lives feel hyper scheduled, but at least we're not living in a kind of endless to-do list where I don't know, it's just going to happen somehow. Things don't just happen.
Yeah.
They don't just happen in our day, in our very, very busy, compressed, pressured days. We make time for them and we can see when it's going to happen. And then I actually am clear about what task. I'm not just doing Gina. I'm reading a certain number of pages. I'm listening to half a podcast. And look at that. Look at that. I'm moving through the program, one activity, one moment, one teaching, one day out of the 91 days at a time. I'm not doing it all. Not all the activities, not all the days, one engagement, one day at a time. And none are going to be perfect. None. And I think that like part of that perfection, oh my gosh, I could go on for ages, but all of the damage of like clean eating, all of how punishing that was for so many of us, how much hurt and harm and trauma.
Yeah.
How much it was our fault, our failings, when actually it's like we've all been duped, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is so much about relearning a relationship with our bodies, a relationship with taking care of ourselves, a relationship with feedback from the body. So I could go on for miles, but I hope that that's helpful around. We do a little bit of the program. We keep it in arm's reach, little and often, and set activities at set times until it becomes an internalized rhythm.
Yeah, I love it. And this is why we run the program by 91 days. So people can take a day by day approach. We break it down into digestible chunks, digestible bits. It's so much more, again, I'll say it a million times, than what you are eating and when. It's really is working through some really big feels. People are bringing in a lot of baggage from their past diet history. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk more about it. I do want to let people know, especially our new members, that you are not alone in this. We have our amazing guest experts like yourself, where we're going to have these conversations. We have an amazing team of program specialists who know the program inside and out, who've been where you are, who are going to be there to help answer as many questions as you need. And to your point, we have all these amazing resources. They're not meant to overwhelm you. They are there to help you individualize this process for you. What do you need? I think it's a great idea for people our new members, even heck, our returning members, because each time they repeat the program, it's a different experience. They've already learned what they learned. They're building on and they're working through some new things. It can feel like a course, and that can be a great way for someone to break it down. Think of it like a course that you're taking. There's information you need to read. There's homework that you need to do. There's things that you need to, work through and whatnot. You can look at it like a journey as well, a journey in self-discovery, taking it day by day. You can look at it like a project. There's things that you need to do. There's a start date, there's an end date, and you are the project. You can look at it like an adventure. I don't know what the frig's going to happen, but I'm here for it. So it's really about figuring out what is going to resonate resonate with you, and also giving yourself the time to figure it out and feel it out. I know you're super familiar with the program. That advice for our new members before we get into our returning members and their big feels. How much time should they allow themselves to kind of get into that groove to absorb the information? We give them prep week. Now we are expecting everyone to start on day one, but there's that need to be perfect. So if I'm not perfect, it's not worth tracking. So day one starts on Monday, whether you're a new member, returning member, even if you don't know what you need to do, you're still starting day one. So any advice to our new members who are coming in and sort of giving themselves the grace, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the conundrum is, so there's no set time and there's no prescription here. So there's really no singular imposed way to do this.
Yeah.
So I would look for, it's like almost this beautiful dance between what it is you need and what it is you have available. There are some folks who are retired and they might be like, I'm doing Gina all day, every day. I'm going to engage with this part and this part. And there's others like, I have a newborn and a toddler and a preschooler and a sick parent. And great. So in the dance between what it is you're trying, why you're here, and what it is that you're trying to learn, and where the capacity is. So it's almost like capacity management. So time isn't like a fixed thing. We have to think around like what actually helps us feel spacious. It's I don't mean to be cryptic here, but what are the things that actually help you feel as if there's time and spaciousness? If trying to fit in and cram in and squeeze in doing Gina at this particular moment in the day, we don't have to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we could set our alarm 10 minutes early, read 5 pages. Look at that. Look at that. We started. And then we might bookend our day that way. We might marry it with either an existing or a new activity, taking the dog out for a walk. I will tell you that I started a new role last January, and it was a totally different rhythm in my life, much different than my work from home and teaching during the pandemic. So now I had a commute. I had quite a long commute a couple days a week. Well, you know what fits into an hour a commute? Listening to Gina. So it worked out great for me. I couldn't ever participate via the Facebook Lives, which other people swear by, and I would love to, but it wasn't possible. So I didn't fight against it. So I wasn't like kind of laissez-faire and like whenever it happens, it'll happen. No, I was very intentional and persistent, but I couldn't fight against the structure, the architecture of my life. Here are the realities. I have 2 small kids. I run a business. I work on a campus during the day. Okay, so here's where it is going to fit, and here's how I'm going to spend that time. So new members, it's around looking at where there are pockets that you have or can make. This is going to be effortful. It's just not going to be effortful in the ways perhaps you think. So it's not effortful in that, like, I'm going to work out for an hour and eat so little. It's not that kind of effort. It's like the effort of undoing shame. It's the effort of deep reflection. It's the effort of paying attention to your body when it's crying out for rest. It's the effort of what is moderate movement, not extraordinary, extreme movement. So it is effortful, but it's like internal journey effort. You're going to need to find the pockets, but where can they fit in your life? And you will see in Facebook, in this community, many beautiful, inspiring ways that others do this program.
Yes.
Borrow their wisdom, but you don't have to have it look like anyone else's. This is your iteration. This is your life with your obligations and commitments. So it's only going to look like your life. And that's great. That's the point. It really is so flexible and can morph and shape shift to fit your life.
I'm so excited to get started and get into these conversations. It really isn't all or nothing like other diets. That's the problem. A lot of people are coming from that diet mentality. It's all or nothing. You do keto, you starve, you deprive, you rob your body of nutrients, you put your body in ketosis. The minute you mess that up, you got to start over. Or how many diets, you start diets, you lose the weight, you get it all back, you start over. This living method really is different. It's about sustainable weight loss. And I know if you're new to the program, you may not understand that, but you're going to see the way we do things is it's so different than any other diet. And it's really about building on what you're learning each week. So what you eat and when is going to change and evolve each week. And each week is going to have a different focus as well. And we're going to be working through a variety of different things far beyond what you are eating and when, which is really cool. So even if you half-ass the program, and maybe you can't even do half the things, you are still going to be a success story in the end because you're showing up. And a lot of times when people diet, they do this, they do this, they do that, they do that, little bits here and there, or a lot of little bits that just don't add up. And this is about having everything that you do, even if it's just the minimal amount, really add up and make a big difference as you move forward and you consistently show up. So it's not about doing all of the things. It's about consistently showing up for yourself and doing what you can do. And some people can do more and some people can do less. I love this comment. New member, I'm excited and nervous. That is very normal. That is very normal. I feel like I've been dieting for the last 20 years. I'm exhausted. And that is such a typical, such a typical story around here for many of our new members. I totally get this. And this is why we are here doing what we do, because we want this to be the last diet that you ever do. And so what you're going to realize is that what you need to do to lose your weight in a healthy, sustainable way is probably different than anything you've ever done before, which also means your mindset needs to be a little different. It can't be all or nothing. It can't be like resisting and persisting and all of those things. You really have to internalize and be in tune and figure out what's going to work for you. And we're going to help you figure that out. So Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer, she's going to be back week 1 of the program. We have amazing guest experts that are going to be joining us along the way to help you through. My advice to anyone who is new is to just take a deep breath. Take your time, give yourself that first week to read all the information, pop into the Facebook support group at any time, or use our amazing AI in our Living Method app and ask all the questions that you need, and give yourself that grace of just kind of giving yourself the time to review the information, try to kind of figure it out. It's so normal in the first days and weeks of the program to be like, what am I doing? How is this going to work? Because for a lot of people, it is really new. I want to get into, I'm just cognizant of time, addressing our returning members. So repeating the program for as many rounds as you need to reach your goal. That's how it's done around here. A lot of times people who are new will be like, well, why do you have to keep repeating the program? It's not repeating the program. It's continuing to follow the program until you reach your goals. If you are able to lose all of your weight in one program, amazing. But there are people here who have larger amounts of weight. It's going to take them longer. So we have people who are coming back and they are looking to do another round, and they may be excited, which I hope that they are, but they may also be bringing big feels. Right. So maybe over the holidays, they found themselves indulging, or they're one step closer. So they really want to get it done. And sometimes people sabotage themselves when they're new. And sometimes people sabotage themselves when they realize like reaching their goal is a reality. So regardless of the big feels and people coming back, is it harnessing those big feels? Is it like, what's your advice to our returning members?
Oh, I am a
I know
returning member. So I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'm a person who has signed up, done very well. I'm a person who's signed up, thought I could go it alone, totally couldn't. I'm a person who's signed up and then life utterly veered this way, and I had to honor that.
Yeah.
So I am a returning member, and I get it. And one of the ways I think about, I don't attach any meaning to being a returning member. I think I really normalize that, because it took me way longer than 91 days, 3 months, to have more weight than my body wanted on it. And it has taken way more than 3 months to have the kind of damage of a body shaming, body hating world we live in, like really have its roots and claws in me. So this might be a very, very, excuse me, long project. I suspect it is going to be a very long project for me. And I'm okay with that. It's like I can see a sense of proportion. It's just going to take me how long it's going to take me.
Yeah.
Because actually, as I learned very quickly in this program, as you say often, it's not about the weight. The weight comes off when you do the things. That's my experience is like 97.99% of all the tens of thousands of people who participate. It's the other stuff. And so for returning members, of which I am, what's the other stuff that's still begging you to shine a light on it, to be kind of exposed to the air and healed? I'm not a big fan of language like let go. Like for me, that's not real. But what is stuff that needs tending to, holding, caring, being seen, honored, worked through with a therapeutic ally? What do you need help with? So I learn the same lesson over and over. I am a full throttle human. I'm trying to be Gina in the learning world, which means I sometimes run myself ragged. I sometimes overexert. And my work is, how do I actually rest when my body's asking me to rest? That's that's a lesson that I'm going to need to keep learning and learning and learning, right? So for your returning members, I want to pose a question, a couple of them really, which is, how do you want to feel by the end? Not what's the number on the scale, but how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel proud of yourself? Do you want to feel becalmed, and that angry, relentless voice that's so critical? Do you want it to have softened, like the tone, the volume softened a little bit? Do you want to, I think about this idea of like, what do you think is possible when you're standing here? What do you in your life think is possible for yourself? Can you really see it happening? What do you think? What do you allow yourself to deserve? Can we actually see ourselves through and across that plateau, that 18th round of self-sabotage? What's on the other side of that? And can you actually feel and embrace and embody that you also deserve that? That's also for you too. And so I'm curious for new members, because there are so very many, it's not hacks, it's not tips and technique, it's like skills that you are teaching and ways to engage and reflect. What's an area that you haven't yet or haven't in a while practiced? So if for you movement wasn't the thing last time, is that going to be a thing for you this time? Is stress, mindfulness, contemplation, prayer, like whatever your way of taking that like deep care, is that the thing that you might want to amplify this time? What's the area that feels either uncomfortable or unattended to? What feels like
Unattended to. Ooh, I love that, unattended to, because if you are a returning member, you are not repeating the program. You are completing another round, building on what you have done and what you have learned. That's the difference. If you're looking at it as like repeating the program, you're not doing the same thing over and over. Yeah, it's the same base program, the steps you're following each week, but you're bringing forward everything that you've learned and accomplished and worked through, moving forward. So it really is different. And that's where that concept of fresh eyes, if this is your second group, you're definitely going to want to pick up on that fresh eyes post that we post, I think, in the first week of the program. It talks about how you want to come into your second round with fresh eyes, not expecting it to be the same. There are going to be different things for you to do to work through every time you do a new round of the program in the process. How do you want to feel? I love that. I think it's I think it's a great sort of full circle moment in this conversation. Off the top, we talked about New Year's and all the, expectations. I want to do this and I want to do that. And, all of those things. How do you want to feel? Makes it feel so much easier.
Totally. And sometimes we do this thing of like, what do I want other people to say about me? What do I want other people to notice? Like, ooh, you look so fit or slim or whatever. Actually, what do you want to notice about yourself? What do
Yeah.
you want to say about yourself? Ooh,
Mm.
I feel radiant because for 3 months I drank a shit ton of water and I feel like positively glowing,
Yeah.
That's how I want to feel. I want to feel like my digestion is like a humming, like it's a rhythm. I feel so good every day. I want to feel rested, right? I want to feel rested. So it'd be really, there's for me, we talk about new members and we talk about returning members, but for me, one of the places where there's an overlap, like a real shared community, is around open-heartedness. This is an open-heartedness project. We are all here with all of the hurt and the harm, trying
Feels.
so hard to believe that something can be different for us too, that we can feel different than how we felt
Yeah.
in the past, that something could work out, that something could go our way, that this time, there will be a shift. And so, what supports open-heartedness for you? How are you going to like nourish open-heartedness? Because what I think some members will find is within a week, ugh, it doesn't work. Ugh, like, all of that instant frustration.
Yeah.
But that just speaks, that's not about the program. Nothing works in a week.
Yeah.
That all that does is reveal how hurt that human is, right?
Yeah.
That's all that's happening in that moment. And so we begin anew or we begin again with as much open-heartedness with the realities of our life and the realities of our histories that we're carrying,
Yes.
to try again or to try new.
Yeah. I love that. Um, my advice to whether you're a new member or a returning member is that the feelings that you're going to have, not just I feel amazing and I feel great and I feel this, the feeling like you feeling frustrated, feeling like you want to quit, feeling like you can't do this, feeling like it's hard, is that's all part of the program and the process. Is, when those feels come up, that's where the work is for you. What you're going to realize is the program, it's not rocket science. It's just more about, yes, knowing what you need to do, which I've done that work for you, and be consistent about doing the things that you can do. And each day trying to have as many of your choices fall in line with your goals as possible. Some days you are going to feel like you are a rock star and you are crushing it. And other days you're going to feel like you are failing. And all of it is part of the process. I think that's the biggest takeaway. What my advice to everyone is, you want to follow through on the 91 days and recognize you're going to have rock star days and feeling like a failure days, and it's all normal. And honestly, people should actually expect that. If it's natural, you're worried. Lots of people talking about, there's going to be a lot of you coming to the program with a lot of baggage from past diets that you've done. A lot of you are coming through with health issues that you're going to be, concerned about. Is this going to work for me? The program is going to work for you. If you're a human and you have a body, you're going to be able to lose your weight, because at the end of the day, your body doesn't want your excess fat any more than you do. The big mistake that people make with dieting is they try to starve and deprive their fat away. And those quick fix diets work. They do work. The problem is that the way that they're designed is that if you starve and deprive yourself, then the first chance your body gets, it's going to store all that fat back plus more every single time. And so we really are looking to help you lose your weight in a way that's sustainable. We're going to be able to lose it in a way where physically your body's not going to feel the need to store it back, but more than that, mentally, you have made change. You've worked through the issues, the associations, the traumas, and all of the things that you need to do to get to a calm place in and around food. And that, I think you would agree, that's really where the work is.
Without without question. without question, if folks are noticing right away, prior members going, just trust the program, and you're like, trust?
Yeah.
That's been broken, I don't know, 23 times over. I can't yet. Just have faith. This is very, very complicated for people. It seems simple, but I'm not a big fan of simple or generic throwaway lines. Trust is very difficult for people, especially when they have felt that trust be damaged or tinkered with.
Yeah.
We use language like self-care, but self-care comes with its own baggage. Well, how can I do that when the world is on fire, when my community needs me, my family needs me? So let's unpack the language of self-care. What does it mean to actually, in kind and consistent ways, take care of your own physical health and well-being? That actually doesn't sound very selfish at all. So there's a lot of like unpacking, undoing, careful examination. Ooh, that feels so inflaming. Oh, that feels so agitating. Okay, right. Well, then maybe trust isn't it. Maybe self-care isn't the right language. But what you'll find so many members here saying, really thousands and thousands of people in community going, this one day, do this thing in the book, and then let what happens kind of fuel you forward. Oh, actually that day felt really good. That's how my trust is going to repair. One day, one activity, one practice, one engagement with a podcast, or tracking on the app, and then I see what happens. I'm collecting my own data. So maybe I can't, like, trust maybe isn't the right metric. Maybe it's the kind of data that I am compiling over time. There are so many different ways, and it's okay if it like hurts your heart a little bit at the start. And that's why you're here. That's why you're here, because so many of those other programs kind of led to no good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to, on a final note, if you are here and you feel like you have failed because you've been trying to lose weight for 20 years, and I say this often, you haven't failed. You have been persistent, you haven't given up on yourself, and you are still here. It's those diets really at the end of the day that have failed you. And that's why we work so hard to gain your trust and do what we can to support you. Really, what I'm doing over the next 91 days is sharing everything that I've learned about helping thousands of people lose weight. I've spent over 30 years of my life helping people hands-on, getting to know people, understand what people need in order to, show up every day and, not just what to eat and when. It's losing weight in a healthy, sustainable way is so much more than that. So we are going to do our darndest around here to make sure that each and every one of you are successful in reaching your goals in a healthy, sustainable way. We're going to have Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer. She's going to be back first week of the program. You're going to come back throughout the program. We're going to continue and build on this conversation. We have all sorts of amazing guests. Again, we have our team of program specialists who are going to be here to answer any of the questions that you have. I do highly suggest that you do pop into our Facebook support group. It's where you find our community, our amazing members. A lot of them are returning in order to, continue to reach their weight loss goals, doing other rounds. They know a lot about the program, the process, have a lot to share. We have an amazing community. I highly suggest, if you are into using our app, it'll be there to guide you through the program, the process. You can use our Living Method AI. If you prefer to use the book, grab the book from Amazon. You can get it delivered to wherever you are at. We have people participating from all around the world doing the program. So we're going to do our best. We make it our motto around here to get every person who starts the program across that finish line in the end. We hope to see you on day 91 of the program. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that you get there. Thank you, Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer, author of Feel Good Learning. If people are interested in picking up your book, where can they grab this?
Oh, you're so kind. At Amazon. So when you're there buying Gina's book, you can take a look to see if mine is of any help to any of the learners or parents of learners that's meant to be a friend. And I have free parenting circles starting next week.
I love it.
If anyone is struggling, if their kids are struggling with homework or procrastination, or if you're struggling with procrastination, you can pop over. It's meant to be, it's like a 30-minute meal, but of relearning strategies. So
Yeah.
trying to be helpful at the start of the new year. And it's funny, that the sun, it's been gray for days. And then, the start of Gina's program, the sun has, the sun is like,
before I go, I just want to thank you for so freely sharing all of your wisdom and information. And that's what we're all about here with all of our amazing guest experts. They are people like me who want to see you succeed. And that's why we're here. We are very good at what we do. We have learned some things along the way, and we're here to share what we have learned with you in order for you to benefit and be a success story in the end. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'm already looking forward to our conversation in the next couple weeks. For anyone who is new to the program, this segment will be stored in the guides, also available over on our podcast, Way In with Gina. So if you want to revisit this conversation, you can do that. If you have any friends or family who are doing the program and you feel like they missed this, you can share it with them within the group or by way of our podcast. If you know anyone who hasn't signed up for our program yet, there is still time. Make sure they head over to our website and get registered. Once we get going, we don't add anyone new to the program, so the time is now. Thanks everyone for joining me. I'm excited to get back into it. This conversation has me feeling inspired, and I hope it has done the same for you. Thank you everyone for watching, for listening. I will see you on Monday, Dr. Deena Kara Shaffer. Thank you so much.
thank you, Gina. Happy New Year. And
I
I can't wait to start with everyone. Thanks.
Woo!